as well to have these moments when you're not doing the teaching. You get them to write on the screen, to give you instructions, to give each other instructions. So we've got to find as many ways as possible to take the pressure off the teacher. At the beginning, it's very hard to do. So I would have thought with young learners, you know, and I said this yesterday, I would much prefer to have them in the class. You will never get me saying to you that it's good to teach online in comparison to the classroom. But with young learners, you might really be looking at around about 40 minutes. Say you normally do an hour class. I think it can be very hard to be thinking of doing a lesson more than about 40 minutes with lots of activities, lots of visuals on the screen. You know, they can be holding up pieces of paper. They can be showing things that they've got in their house. You know, what's your favorite doll? What's your favorite toy? What, you know, all sorts of things like that. You know, I think we've got to make use of the fact that they're at home as well. So lots of visuals, lots of activities that might get them to write or draw and then come back to the class, those kind of things.
Russell, even though we haven't officially started, would you mind starting the tape? People are asking you to tape what you're saying.
I've done it already.
Okay,
oh, you've done
right.
it, Jimena.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know you could. Okay.
Good.
I don't know why, but I can.
No, yeah, don't know why either. God. Right, okay,
So,
that's another, yeah. All right, well done.
Russell, they're asking specifically about teenagers. Any differences from what you said?
Well, I think, look, you know, one thing that we really need to think about, particularly tomorrow, is to start to think about, because at the moment, what's actually happening is everybody's thinking about the live lesson. All right. So in Europe at the moment, the big panic is when the panic started, everyone, oh, what am I going to do to teach live? And obviously people are learning Zoom very quickly or a similar tool. What we kind of need to start to think about is the link between what the students are going to do for homework or what they're going to do on a platform, because I think the platforms are going to be very useful. The platform that Richmond have got, I've been looking at it today. I think that's going to be fantastic. You know, linking what we're trying to do with the students. And I think we're going to have to be quite imaginative. And what I mean by that is you might be flipping your classes. You might be asking students to do activities at home, preparation, reading, writing, and then come in the class and then actually look at what they've done, screen share it, put them into groups, get them to share their activities. I think almost when we're using the Zoom in an effective way, sometimes we're going to flip our classes. And I think that's going to be the way to make learning with younger learners, teenagers as well, more interesting. The secret to Zoom, the secret to working with teenagers is going to be to put them into breakout rooms. That is going to be really important, but it's going to mean a change in teaching and learning a bit, because you can create breakout rooms, you can put the students into breakout rooms, and then you can go into the breakout rooms and see what they're doing, and you can get them to do activities and then bring them back as a class. And I think when you're working with teenagers, this is going to be really, really important.
Okay. Mauricio is saying that the parents are expecting teachers to be online during the whole day, and I've said that that's an unreasonable expectation.
Well,
yeah, absolutely, so we'll talk about that.
Listen, but that's again, you know, that's a really good point though, Donna, a little bit linked to what we were talking about yesterday. This is why you have to understand that it's teaching online for the input sessions, the activities with the teacher, but it's what they're going to do outside. You know, I was looking today, for example, as I said, because Jimena sent me a link to the platform that Richmond provide with the books. That is going to be so important, because it's going to mean then that after the lesson, the students can go and do the work online. You know, I study Polish and I have a platform, and it's fantastic because I have my online classes with my teacher in Skype, and then I do all the homework on the platform. And so I think these platforms, the teachers are going to have to learn, as we were saying yesterday, a platform and to use Zoom. The platform could be Edmodo, or it could be the one that Richmond are providing. It seems an obvious choice, but that link between those two things is really important. Of course, the teacher shouldn't be online teaching for all day. No way, no way. No way.
Maybe we can get started now with a proper session.
Okay. Are we ready then, guys?
I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Donna, do you want to do a quick hello, or you want me to kind of just dive in there and get started? 1 minute.
Well, I just want everyone to know that Russell is going to be doing some advanced work now on the Zoom platform and a little bit on Edmodo, but generally any platform you're using, you'll be able to use what he'll tell you. And then I'm going to be going over ideas for how to make the online classes a little more active. So that's my portion of the session today. So thank you all for joining, and Russell's going to start. And keep going, keep typing in the chat. I'll take notes, and Russell will take your questions when he has a break.
Right, so lovely to see you on day 2. I'm glad I'm here on time. I've even had time to take off put my contact lenses and look normal. So I'm really sorry about yesterday, but anyway, at least I've got the time right today, and I'm here. And this is day 2. Very interesting for me. Just before I start, a little bit of what is happening at the moment with the kind of whole thing about teaching online. I think at the beginning people were really panicking about what they're going to do. Now people are beginning to think about, okay, so I know a little bit about Zoom. How do I begin to organize my classes? How do I begin to make sure that this works effectively? I think at the beginning people were really worried about just getting started with Zoom. So hopefully by tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll be doing some more stuff around linking this whole thing together. By tomorrow, you'll start to build a picture of what you need to learn, and even a little bit about how you can move forward and how you can make this really work. Okay, everyone's in the same situation all over the world. I had a phone call this morning at 6 o'clock in the morning with China. Then I was talking to some people in Austria, and then I was just speaking recently to some people in the UK. You know, everyone's kind of in the same situation at the moment. So remember that link between the live session and the platform is absolutely vital. We were talking about this yesterday. Today, in my session, we're going to talk about the live session a little bit. We're going to look at Zoom, because that seems to be the tool that everybody's using. And Donna's going to kind of talk about the platform. But I really would advise you, if you don't already know it, because I've been looking at it today, to look into the Richmond platform that links to the books, because I think that that's going to help you a lot. You can organize your students, they can do exercises, they've got access to a digital version of the book, they can do listenings, they can do readings, and I think that's going to be a big help. Maybe it's the opportunity finally that all these publishing companies have spent a lot of time making these platforms. Not all of them are used by the schools. Now perhaps is the moment when we really do need to start looking at those platforms and how they are used. And I have to say, because I have lessons in Polish and I use a platform for my homework, and it's great. So I have my lessons and then I do lots of work on the platform. I can see my scores, etc., etc. So just keeping that in mind when you're planning your lessons, don't always think about Zoom as being the center. A little bit what's happening at the moment is everybody's thinking, I'm going to be teaching all the time. You're not going to do that. So, you know, think about the lesson, what the students are going to do before they come onto Zoom. Think about even in the middle of a lesson that they go off onto the platform and then come back. You know, and then think about what you're going to do after, so you can be linking everything together. You don't only have to be thinking about doing a live session. The feeling I'm getting a little bit from teachers all over the world is they're getting exhausted because they're continually teaching all the time and using Zoom to teach lessons. I think teachers are doing an amazing job, really difficult, but we will hopefully get to the moment when we can just start to sit back and say, okay, I know how to use Zoom now. Can I think of a bit more of a relaxed way of doing it? I'm going to try and help you today and think about some of those issues, okay? So when you learn, so we're going to learn today to look at the platform. We're going to show you Zoom. We're using Zoom now, okay? So this is the Zoom platform that we're working on at this moment. And I'm going to take you through this, really what is the key things in Zoom. But really what kind of happens at the beginning is that you tend to start off by doing at the basic level, just using the tools and doing a very, very teacher-centered lesson. This is what I see when I do the training. The teachers are kind of really panicking and obviously, and they're trying to get used to the technology. And at the beginning, you tend to make the lessons very teacher-centered. As you get a bit more confident, you start to do activities where you pass the control to the students and they start writing on the screen and they start speaking. And you get even more confident. You start to use breakout rooms, which is one of the best features in Zoom. You can put your students into breakout rooms, okay, and it works really well. So you get more confident and you start to make the lessons more student-centered. But then you get even more confident and you begin to link your lesson. So you're not always teaching. You're doing an activity, the students move off onto the platform, they do something, you come back with the class, you open up your screen and look at what they did. So you can be doing that, but that takes a little bit of practice. The first thing to do is to get the basics right, to understand how does Zoom work. It's not easy. There are quite a few settings that can be a little bit complicated at the beginning that you need to kind of get experience with. And I have to say, and we've just seen it now, even for, you know, for someone like me that's been using these tools for many years, each one is a bit different and it does take a little bit of time. So there's going to be a learning curve, and I'm still going through that learning curve despite using these technologies for a long, long time. But get the basics right, then you'll get a bit better, you'll start getting more student-centered, and then you'll start really linking it. And for me personally, from what I can see, the link between Zoom and the platform, the Richmond platform, for example, or Edmodo, as we were talking about yesterday, could be very rich. When you start with Zoom, there are a few things that we need to think about. And what we're going to focus on today, in today's session, is to really kind of talk about some of the things that we can do, okay, to get the settings right. And then we're going to look at some of the key issues around the screen sharing and the breakout rooms and controlling the students. So we're going to concentrate today more on the top two. So tomorrow I'm going to look more at the creative side. But what I want to do today is to try to get it that we kind of really got it clear about getting the settings right before you start the session, and then looking a little bit at the control issues, etc. So this is the #1 tip for you. I'm going to give you some videos to help you, so don't worry, all right? You can put your questions in, but don't worry, my videos will cover everything if you want to use them. And I will be using a little bit my videos today just to show you, okay? The videos are free, they're on YouTube, so you can make use of them. But when you get a Zoom account and you want to start, the best thing is to go to your settings, the general settings. And you can do a few things in general settings that are always going to help you. In other words, every room that you ever open and use will always have those general settings. Now, when you actually open your room, you can also change a few. And that's a good idea because, you know, sometimes you're doing a webinar like me with lots and lots of people. Sometimes I'm doing a one-on-one session. Sometimes I'm having a project meeting. You know, you might have big classes, small classes, teenagers, young learners, adults. And there might be a few settings that you want to change depending on who you're working with. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute because we've had some really interesting experiences about that. So when you go onto Zoom and you log on the left, when you've got your account straight away, and it's all in my video, so don't worry, on the left, you will see settings. And there's a couple of really good settings there that I want to just talk about. #1, you can choose that the students can annote on the screen. That means that your students can write on the screen on an interactive whiteboard. They can write on the whiteboard or over a PowerPoint, etc. Sometimes you're going to want that setting on, especially if you're working with young learners. Sometimes you're going to want that setting off, depending if you think that that's going to cause a problem. Everyone's going to be writing all over the screen. It's something that you kind of need to deal with, but that is something to be aware of. You can give the option to all the students to be able to annote on the screen. Most of the time, it's a good idea to have it on when you're working with young learners, because you might want to say to them, right, mark such and such a thing, and you can do that with Zoom. The second one is give the students an interactive whiteboard. I'll be coming back to this in a minute. When you are working yourself, that's no problem. You're the one with the interactive whiteboard because you'll be sharing the screen. You'll be able to show them everything. That's fine. But when you put your students in breakout rooms, if you don't allow them to screen share, then there's going to be nothing on the screen for them to do. So when you're working on your own and presenting like I am now, you don't need to worry about giving the students the option to use the interactive whiteboard and to use the screen share. But when they go into the breakout rooms, you need to do that. So you always want to set those two to on, or in most cases, you want to set those two to on. The participants, because you want them to note, and the interactive whiteboard, yes, because you want that when they go into a breakout room, especially when you're working with teenagers and adults, that they are able to open up their screen and share things and discuss them. Otherwise, they're just going to see themselves on the screen, but there's nothing for them to work on. Okay, so that's really important to have those two settings on. Okay. Another thing that's really important, I hope you can see that behind the screen because it's a bit, sorry, it's a bit, but this must be on. Breakout rooms must be on. Otherwise, you won't have the breakout button at the bottom. Okay, these are just the general settings. There's a few of them that are important. Make sure that they can note. Make sure they can use the interactive whiteboard. Make sure the breakout room is on, because if you want to put your students in breakout rooms, you have to have that feature turned on. Okay, so those are really important features. We'll be coming to the breakout rooms and actually showing you how it works in a minute. Those three settings are the general settings that are really, really important. Now, when you start a meeting, so you've got your general settings, but when you start a meeting, you can also change a few settings, okay? And there's one or two that might be important, but there's one thing I need to explain to you that's very important. When you set up your meeting, all right, and this is not complicated, I promise you, when you go onto Zoom, you'll realize you'll learn this very quickly, and my videos will show you in just 5 minutes, you'll learn all of this. But when you go on and create a Zoom room, one of the things that teachers confuse, let's imagine that I set my room for tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I put the time, the date, I say duration, and then at the bottom of the page, I click on Get Started. Don't worry. The only reason that you're doing that is to schedule the time, because Zoom will create an invitation for you that you can then send to your students. But actually, you can open any of your rooms anytime. They're not limited by time. In other words, you can schedule 50 meetings and you can click on any of those rooms and go in whenever you want. The room is always open. So don't worry that the time you set, because everybody thinks, oh, I set the time for 5 o'clock, it won't be open. Yes, it will. Your only reason for that you put the time, is so that Zoom can produce an invitation that says there will be a meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. Here is the link, and you can send that to the students. That room can be opened anytime. Okay, that's really important. Now, this is what I'm going to explain to you. If you're a teacher in a school, the next thing I'm going to explain is super important. Really important point. You are likely to have, let's say you've got your 3 lessons, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. You're teaching your 5 o'clock class. So you've already got your schedule on Edmodo, on Zoom, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And you've got one class planned at 5 o'clock, one at 6, one at 7. When you are teaching your lesson at 5 o'clock, that is the live lesson. Your lesson at 6 o'clock, when the live lesson at 5 o'clock is finished, then you start your next one. You can only have one lesson, one class or one room live at any one moment. You can schedule many, many, many meetings, but only one can be live. Now, why is that important? It's very important because if your students from the 6 o'clock class try to log in before you finish the 5 o'clock class, they can't join. I repeat that because it's really important, and hundreds of teachers have emailed me, many schools as well. If you are teaching, you have a scheduled 5, 6, 7 o'clock. You are teaching your 5 o'clock class. Your students from 6 o'clock start to try to join the 6 o'clock class. They can't join. They're not allowed to join until you've finished your 5 o'clock class. The 6 o'clock class will open. They come in. So actually, one thing you need to do is to allow the students to wait in the waiting room. That is the only thing you can do. So that when your class finishes, the students at 6 o'clock go in the waiting room, they're waiting. When the 5 o'clock class finishes, then the 6 o'clock class will start and the students will come in. I hope I've been clear there, Donna. Was that clear?
I think it was very clear.
All right, it's really important, Donna, because it's come up hundreds of times. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know I'm making a kind of bit of a boring point in a way, but it really is an important point. Okay. So one final thing as well, actually, I didn't put it on here, but I will tell you, this is really good news. This is really good news. And just one final thing that I will tell you. I haven't got it on the screen here, actually, but the next button down underneath here says repeat lesson. And if you click on that, let's say, for example, every Monday you have a class at 5 o'clock. Okay, so you've got your schedule, 5 o'clock, let's say adult level 1 or junior level 1, 5 o'clock, junior level 1. If you click on repeat 5 times, it will do it for the next 5 weeks. The link will always be the same. That is brilliant. I'll repeat that. Let's say you schedule a class on Monday at 5 o'clock, and you know for the next 5 weeks, on the next button down underneath here, I didn't show you, but the next button down, I can say repeat. Okay, I can say how many times, and so that lesson will be scheduled for the next 5 weeks at that time, and the link will always be the same, which makes it easy for the students because they can always link into the same lesson. Okay, so it really makes it easy. Once they've linked in the first time, it's always going to be the same link, and that is brilliant. That really helps you and makes the organizations of the classes very, very simple. Right, when we come in, so we've kind of talked about, so what I want to do now is start to move to when we open up the screen. Okay, we've actually got a screen open here in a minute, and we will look at it. This is what it looks like, you know that. We can see here a few things really interesting. At the bottom, you can see the breakout rooms because I turned breakout rooms on. So I can immediately, just at the bottom of the screen there, at any time, I can open my breakout rooms, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. On the left-hand side here, I can turn on the mute, the audio, or turn on my video. It's just one click and it will start, or one click and the audio will come on and the audio will come off. On the right-hand side, I can see the list of participants. So there's no participants in this class here. And then I've got chat, which you can see at the bottom. Now, the list of participants and the chat window, there's a couple of complicated things. Number one, if you are in full screen and you click on the chat window and the participants window, they will float on the top. They will not be on the right-hand side. So what you need to do, if you open the participants window and the chat window and they're floating, they're not on the right, just go leave full screen, and then suddenly they will come on the right-hand side. So when you are in full screen, unfortunately, annoyingly, the participants window and the chat window disappear. Okay, and I've had this many teachers emailing me, where is my chat window? Where is my participants window? The only reason it's disappeared because you're in full screen, all right? So keep that in mind. So when you work with Zoom, the centerpiece of Zoom is the screen share. Everything is based around screen share. Now, not every technology works like that. This is this one. The magic of Zoom, the thing you need to understand is that you share your screen. If you want to share a presentation, you share your screen. If you want to share a video, you share your screen. If you want an interactive whiteboard, you share your screen. Everything is in screen share. Not all the technologies work like that. Some you are presenting and the interactive whiteboard are completely separate from screen share. But this system works around screen share. Everything is about sharing your screen. Now, why is that important? Yes, because you must be prepared. Everything you are planning on sharing, you must have it prepared before you do your Zoom session. So for example, I'm going to present with you today. I had the PowerPoint ready. I have 2 videos ready. I have the interactive whiteboard ready. Okay, that's automatic. That's really important. So when you click on screen share, the first thing that's going to happen is going to open a window, you'll see in a minute, and it's going to say, which thing on your computer do you want to share with your students? And then you choose that thing and it will open up. Okay, now if I click on the next screen, I believe on here, we're gonna see that now. So when I click on, sorry, I'll come back to that. As soon as I turn on the screen share, okay, this is what I see. So I hit the screen share button. It says to me, are you going to share, you know, your video, Microsoft Edge, the PowerPoint slide, your interactive whiteboard, all of the different things that are open on your computer at that moment, they are available to you. Now, notice that I put here audio, and this is really important because if you are going to share a video, or if you're going to share something from the Richmond, for example, from what the interactive platform, and that has got sound, you must make sure that you click on share computer sound, because remember, you are sharing your screen with your students, and if you don't share the audio, they won't hear it. Okay, because now this is good things here. This is very good because it means that you've got control over the video. You can start the video and stop the video when you want. But the important thing to understand is that your students needs to be able to hear you, so you hear the video or the interactive software, or digital software that you use. You must click on that button there to activate the sound. That's really, really important. Without that, then your students are not going to hear what you're going to say. Okay, so I'm going to come out of share. I'm just going to jump back a couple of slides again. So come back to this slide. So this, remember, when I click on screen share at the bottom, this is what I'm going to see, this. And then I choose the window I want to choose, add the sound if it's going to be a video or audio, and then click on share. Boom, my students can see me. Okay, now I'm going to jump out of my screen share now, because obviously we're in screen share now. I'm going to come back. So I'm just going to click on stop share, come back again. Any questions at that point, Donna, before I kind of get into the real meat of it? Anything for me to worry about?
Well, a couple of things, and maybe you're going to be going over this also. Let me just do it quickly. One, can they put their Zoom session, recording of their Zoom session on their own YouTube accounts?
Well, yes, they can. I mean, if I guess that there could be issues with copyright there if they're using loads of content from Richmond. So I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work. I don't think I'm the person to answer that question. Yes, in theory, you could put your video up onto YouTube. Of course, you could your lesson, but you would have to think about the things that you're showing on the screen.
All right, are you going to be going over the breakout rooms?
Definitely. It's the most important thing, yeah.
And are you going to be going over how the students go into the waiting rooms?
No.
Okay.
They're just going to be in a waiting room, and then but you can, I'm not sure how much you can set up the waiting rooms, actually, how much detail you can put into them. They're kind of sitting in a waiting room and then they come in. I'm not sure I think you might be able to design something just to tell them that they're in a waiting room. I'm not sure actually if you're able to give them some kind of something to read or something like that beforehand. I'd have to check. It's a good question. I can check it for tomorrow. It's a really good question.
Okay, I'll keep that down. Another quick question: you have classes. Consecutively. Once the timer runs out on one class, if you're still talking, does that mean you're cut off once the timer stops?
All right, so whoever asked that question wasn't listening to me carefully enough. Your rooms, whatever timing you set has nothing to do with the room. It's just the information that you're providing. You can set the timer for 1 minute and you can stay in the room for 24 hours. It makes no difference, okay? When you close the room is when you close the room. The room will not automatically close. The timer has nothing to do with when the lesson starts or when it finishes.
Okay, so let me just ask one last question. If you're just on the 40-minute plan, does the timer start when you've scheduled a class or when you actually connect into the class?
When you connect into the class, exactly.
Okay.
And I think at the moment in the 40-minute plan, they're being very generous, and I think they can let you have 300 people in the room or something. That's what I read. I don't know if that's true, but I think it's very generous at the moment, the free plan.
Okay, that's it for now, Russell. Thank you so much.
Is this okay, Donna? Do you think that it's helping them?
Yeah, they're very positive comments. We're okay.
Right, okay, lovely. I'm keeping it really simple, but it's really important. So, again, obviously now I'm going to go back into my breakout room now. So I'm clicking on screen share at the bottom. I've got all these windows in front of me now, and the one that I'm going to choose is the one with the PowerPoint presentation, okay? Actually, the one I'm going to choose now is I'm going to show you a little video about screen sharing, okay? So hopefully
Okay,
I'll get
sorry,
this one.
Russell, one
Yeah.
last thing, because I forgot someone is very desperate to know this. Can they use these on their mobile phones, a Zoom class?
Well, I definitely wouldn't be doing a Zoom class on my mobile phone. No way. I don't even know if you can do that. You can receive a lesson on your Zoom in your mobile phone. Yes, I guess that's a possibility. But actually doing a lesson on Zoom might be pretty tough. All the controls, I'm sure that the mobile version, if there is one to deliver a class, will be very limited.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know, all of these things, unfortunately, I know people have gone iPad crazy and blah, blah, blah. But the trouble is when you're using an iPad, you're always using an app. And an app is always a cut down version of the actual system that works on the internet. And so that's always a bit of a problem when you're using these things. Right, so let's come into this one here. I'm going to come into screen share. I'm going to click on the audio button because I'm going to play a video where you're going to watch me doing a bit of screen sharing. I'm just going to show you it live now. And you should be able to kind of see how we can, so I'm just going to open up. So this is one of my videos that's actually online. All right, I'm just going to play a little, in fact, what I'll do is I'll make that a little bit bigger. I'm just going to play a little bit where I'm showing you how I use Zoom to do a breakout room. How I use Zoom for screen sharing. So I've got that open. Now I'm going to open up Zoom again. And when I now click on screen share, there is the PowerPoint slide ready. I can click on it and click on share. The PowerPoint slide is open. I can now click onto the slide and use the arrow keys. Make sure you click onto the screen to activate the PowerPoint slide. You can now move forward and back through the pages. So you can easily share a PowerPoint slide in Zoom, and you don't need two windows. Now, what a lot of people get confused about is simply because they think to themselves, well, where's the PowerPoint slide? You don't need to do that. You've opened it up before. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip here, interestingly. If you scroll over here and you annotate, and I have pointed this out before, and if you annotate on the screen, okay, now, if you now click on the mouse, click on the PowerPoint and then move forward, don't forget the annotations will still be there, because the annotations are really on a kind of, it's basically a layer above the presentation. So the first thing you have to do is click on clear the drawings, then move on by clicking onto the screen and using because you have to tell Zoom what is active. So as soon as you click on here, for example, let's do it again. So we click on drawer. Now the drawing tool is active. Okay, so if I draw, let's say, onto the screen, now the drawing tool is active. And of course, I can't move forward. It's just going to draw for me. I need to click on the mouse, click onto PowerPoint, clean the drawing off, and then click on the forward key to move to the next page of the presentation. So that's how you work in a PowerPoint slide. So let's look at another example now about screen sharing video, because okay, so what you've seen there is an example of me just screen sharing a PowerPoint presentation. We can also screen share video. Obviously, I just screen shared video for you. And in the next part, I'm actually going to look at how we can screen share video. So what I'm going to do now is open up my screen share again. I'm going to come back. This time, we're going to not look at how I screen share a PowerPoint, but how do I screen share a video? When you screen share a video, remember to click on the audio so that your students can hear. Now, screen sharing video in Zoom is really good because you have control. When I stop the video, it's stopped for you. When I play the video, it's played for you. Other systems don't work like that. Other systems, the student can come on and stop it, but not on our one. The good thing about Zoom is that when you play the audio and the video, that is, the students just have to watch it. They have no choice, okay? So just quickly coming back into that presentation about using the video. I think I've got it on the screen here somewhere. Sorry, hope I didn't close it down. 1 minute, I can't see it now. 1 second, sorry, I've lost it on my screen. 1 second, I can just quickly rectify this. Let me just, sorry, I think it's here, yeah, sorry, okay, lovely. Right, I'm gonna watch another example now where I'm gonna demonstrate, this time sharing my video screen. So again, you're gonna see the same thing, click on the screen share, this time choose video, choose the audio option and then start, okay? So let's quickly watch that on the screen. Some people are getting caught out with this as well. So again, I'm going to minimize Zoom. So there it is, just there, minimize. I'm in the background here, and I've got one of my own videos about working with Zoom. Okay, it's called Key Settings. I've got the video ready on my computer already. Okay, now I click on here to maximize again. So I'm back into Zoom now. I'm going to come to screen share. Two things really important. First of all, find the video. So there it is. That's the video I want to play to my students, but I also want to make sure they can hear it. So I need to click on that button as well. Click on share, and it's just, again, the same thing. Now you've got control. You can play the video. And again, let me just skip the advertisement 1 second, and the video's playing. And you can see, and the students will be able to hear the sound because I have not necessarily a good idea. And now, you might not realise this, but if you come up to the top here, I do believe if you click on a note, same thing again, you can actually even draw on the video. Okay, because remember, everything is on a layer above the video. For me personally, the breakout rooms have got to be one of the best. Okay, so you've seen there how you can share a video. The key thing when you're doing anything on screen share is to make sure that you have everything ready in the background, so you know what you're going to open. Okay, that really is important. It is possible, if you forget something, if you're really confident, I could do it now. I could quickly minimize you, do something in the background, and then maximize you again, and you wouldn't know. But that's only going to happen when you kind of got confidence. At the beginning, it's really good to have everything ready. So that button, that screen share button, is absolutely vital in terms of your presentation. Now, I'm just going to come back to the PowerPoint slides, okay, and just come in again to just talk about a couple of things. All right, so just want to jump back here. Let's talk about the breakout rooms now. Now we're running out of time, so I want to be really quick. We can put students into breakout rooms. It's great fun. It's, along with the screen share, it's one of the most important things. If you put your students into breakout rooms and you don't give them the ability to screen share themselves, then they can't do very much. They're going to come into the breakout room, they can see each other and talk if you've given them an exercise, but they can't do very much. They can't write on the interactive whiteboard, or they can't play a PowerPoint slide to each other, or talk about a picture, or open a website. They can't do very much. So one important thing is, when you're going to do a breakout room, you need, before you do the breakout room, just click on screen share, advanced settings, okay, and just choose this. One participant can share at a time. All participants can now screen share. So you give control to everybody to screen share, but only the host can intervene, can stop the screen share. Okay, you need to do that. You don't have to have that setting on all the time. It's a really easy setting. When you look at screen share at the bottom, you will see that there is a little icon. Click there and it says advanced settings. This will open. Yes, one participant can share at a time. Yes, all participants can share, and only one person can intervene, that's you. Now, when you put your students in breakout rooms, now your students can open things on the screen and discuss them together. If you don't do that, they can't do it. So keep that in mind. That's a really important setting when we move to breakout rooms. When you go to breakout rooms, remember, in the settings before we started the session, we chose breakout rooms. So the breakout room button is at the bottom. Now, in the class that I'm in here, you can see I've got 19 students. And I can say, I am going to have 19 students. I want 5 breakout rooms, and I want you automatically to put them into rooms for me. And it's brilliant because it does it automatically. I just click the button and they will be automatically put in rooms. Now, it doesn't start the breakout room yet. First of all, it puts them into rooms and it shows you. So when I click on this button now, create room, this is what happens. Now, I had to take away the names because of privacy, but you can see there's 1 room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms, 4 rooms, and all the people have already been put into the rooms. I don't have to do anything. All I did was say 5 rooms automatically, please. Bang, 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 all done. When I click on the magic button now, the students will suddenly go into the rooms and you will be on your own in the main room. Everybody will leave from the participants list. There will be silence if you've got the audio open. You won't see anyone. You are on your own. As soon as you click on this button, I click on open all rooms. This is what I see. I see a list of the breakout rooms and I see who is in each breakout room. Now, the fantastic thing is I can jump into the room. I just click on join and straight away I come into the room as if it's, yeah, a class and I've just joined. And I can hear and see everything they're doing. And when I want to leave, I just click on breakout rooms and click join another one. And I go to that one. And then when I leave, I click at the bottom breakout rooms and I go join and I join another one. And I can be jumping in and out of people's breakout rooms all the time. Anytime I've finished, I just click on close all rooms and everybody comes back into the main room. Now, there are a few more things to learn, but it is actually that easy. And my video covers everything. So if you watch that video on breakout rooms, you will learn everything you need to do. Now, I'm going to remind you of what I just said a minute ago. It's absolutely vital that you give them the ability, just before you go in the breakout rooms, set them up for screen share. Otherwise, when they go in the breakout rooms, they can't do very much apart from look at each other and speak, which might be okay for some exercises, but other ones, that's going to be really important. So, Donna, I'm going to come back because I'm really aware of time. I've taken nearly my 45 minutes, but just, is there any kind of questions there coming up? Is there anything I need to explain? Do you want me to carry on just a little bit more? I'll leave, you're in charge, Donna.
Yeah, I want you to carry on a little bit more, but let me give you two questions. First of all, if the students, I don't understand because it says the students don't fit. They'll all fit because it's automatic. But if you want to change one particular student from one room to another, can they do that?
Brilliant question, and it's super easy. You put your name over remember I showed you the list of all the students? I roll my name over the student and I move them. I can just say, move to room 1, move to room 2. It's so easy. And you can quickly move students around. Great question. And it's very easy to do. It's one of the reasons why I would say Zoom is very good. The breakout rooms are the best I've ever seen. Great question.
Okay. All right, then there's another, it's more general, and I don't know how particular this is. Some people are trying to do their Zoom accounts right now while you're speaking, and one of our participants says she says, when I choose screen, it shows my desktop background, but nothing else. She can't do the Zoom window open and screen sharing. Does that make any sense to you? She says, why can I not share this Zoom window?
Well, you definitely can't be doing a Zoom when a Zoom's on. That is why I didn't do this live. Otherwise, I would have done that today. I would have done a Zoom of a Zoom. You can't do that. You can't be screen sharing a screen share. Yeah. So please do it afterwards. Don't do it while we're doing the session. You've got my videos. Otherwise, I would have done that with you now. That's why I had to do all that preparation and do all those pictures, because I know I can't screen share a screen share.
Okay, that's all right now. Yeah.
Is that all right, guys? So should we just really quickly watch a quick video of me doing a screen share? Again, it's in the session, in the video that I'm going to give you. All right, but it should hopefully, if I can find the right video. I think I've got it here. Let's have a quick look here. I think I opened it up. Let me have a look. Let's have a quick look here. Hang on a minute. Let's have a look. Right. Okay. Can you see that? I'm in the breakout rooms now. Okay. And I'm just going to play this video. Into their rooms. Now, it is possible to move students out of rooms as well, but automatically they. Oh God, we got
in music. You're basically having a conversation. It's a question.
Will be now in their rooms. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this live. So you can see me in a live session here, and I've got 19 participants, and I'm going to divide them into five different groups. Okay, I'm doing it automatically. I click on the button and look what happens. They're all automatically placed in their groups. I don't have to do anything there. I just clicked on automatic and all of the teachers were immediately put into their groups. Now all I need to click is on that button there, open all rooms. As soon as I do that, they will be placed in their rooms. Okay, before I move on and actually show. Okay, so that's where you saw me actually doing it, going through that. And if you watch the rest of that video, I'm going to show you what happens afterwards. It's very easy. I promise you that if you remember to set the breakout button when you set up your room, so go to the settings, and if you follow my videos, you will be able to do it. And you'll find that, don't worry, I'll give you the link to the videos in a second, all right? Just to finish off the session. So that is basically all you need to know about breakout rooms. Just quickly going to come back to just open up the slides for a quick second here. Just come
Okay, sorry, Russell, can I ask you a question? Because they still have questions about the breakout rooms. If you have a slide that you want to show the students in their breakout rooms, how can they do that? And can it be different slides in each breakout room?
Very clever. It's a really good question. It's lovely to hear these questions. These questions are excellent. So you're really on top of that. And that is a dilemma because there are a few ways of working here. You could go into the breakout room and share the slide with them in the chat, and then they could open it up. That could be a possibility. Or you could share the slide with one of the students in each group before, because you can kind of make it, if you want to, rather than doing it automatically, you can set the breakout rooms yourself. You can choose manual and just quickly drag them in. It's not difficult. Just say yes, 1, 1, 1, 1. So you could do something like that. It is an issue. How do you get, there is something about breakout rooms that there is a little bit of training that you've got to give to your students. How do they open something onto the screen? They have to learn to screen share. So often what teachers do is give one of the students the document in each group, one of the students the document that they need to open onto the screen so everybody can see it. It might be a video link, it might be the document, etc. So that is something you've got to think about. Are you going to do that before, which you can do? You give them you could share the link with them. Anything that they open up onto their screen, when they go into screen share, they will be able to share it. So if you share a link with them and they click on it, it opens up. When they then go into the breakout room and screen share, that document will be there. There's no problem. Or you quickly go into the rooms and you then simply give share the thing in the chat window. They can open it then, and again, someone can screen share it. Remember, anything that they click on and open, when they open up their screen share, it will be there. Anything that's open on your computer will be available when you go to the screen share. Okay, it's a really good question, and it is a bit tricky. It's a bit of practice to decide how you're going to do that, okay? And it does mean that when you work with the breakout rooms, to some degree, you do need to teach the students a little bit about how breakout rooms work.
Okay, sorry, Russell, this is one more that she asked this a long time ago. This is Nellie, and she's wondering if she doesn't schedule a meeting, can she make a meeting room?
Yeah, of course you can. I mean, you can't actually not schedule it. Well, you can, because I think you can just click and open one. One thing is I sometimes get confused about is that there are kind of different types of rooms. And sometimes when I click on just create a room straight away and start off, and Jimena might know more about this than I do, that sometimes the rooms are slightly different. I always schedule a room, but you can just click on, schedule a room, start. You don't have to change any of the settings and then just go straight into the room and then send the link to the students. I mean, once you get confident, you'll realize that you have all those possibilities. Remember what I've said, really important. When you create the schedule, that is just for the timetabling. Any of those rooms will be live if you click on them straight away.
Okay, wonderful, Russell. I think that's it for now. They're all they say they can't wait to start to try it now. They say they just need the practice, et cetera, but they're very excited about it. You've gotten them really revved up.
Good. So if I know many of you emailed me yesterday, there's no tricks here. This is all free, okay? I mean, I do make a teeny weeny bit of money because there's some adverts on my videos, but I mean, it's insignificant. Just go to teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. And if you go there, you can just email me, and automatically, if you write Richmond and write, hello, I am blah, blah, blah from blah, 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 automatically I will send you the handout. It will show you how to use Edmodo, and it will also show you how to use Zoom. And maybe tomorrow I might even show you how to use the Richmond platform, because I think that's going to be brilliant for teaching online as well. I'm going to stop at that moment, Donna. Thank you for letting me use your lovely PowerPoint slides, Donna, by the way.
Sure.
Beautiful design. I couldn't have done anything as nice as that. So I appreciate that. And at least I wasn't late today.
No, it's perfect. And Jimena wanted to know, can you unmute Jimena? Because we have some people who are asking exactly about the Richmond platform. And either maybe the two of you can talk about, is there a tutorial, Jimena, that they can use to learn about it a little more?
Jimena, you're unmuted.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We do have a variety of video tutorials and recordings of training webinars we've done on the use of the Richmond Learning Platform. But I was telling Noemi, who was the first to ask from Argentina, that you can also contact your local Richmond teams for personalized training on the use of the Richmond Learning Platform, because as you know, the content you have access to is directly tied to the course book you're working with. So it would be better if you got your personalized training using the specific materials you and your students would be working with. So feel free to contact your local Richmond team and ask for personalized training. I can send you access to the video tutorials and to the recordings we have on training webinars, but I think it would be a lot better if you and your teachers as a group could receive a personalized training session specifically focused on the materials you're working with. You let me know if you don't have the contacts, I can give them to you as well, because I do believe something more personal and directly connected to your materials would be a lot more useful, but we can indeed go through it very briefly tomorrow if there is time.
Okay, wonderful, Jimena, thank you.
Okay, Donna, I'm going to make you the host now.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and just very quickly, I will be back in a second. I'm going to go and get myself a drink of water because I'm losing my voice. Okay, but I will be back.
Okay, wonderful.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, let me
actually,
just
make
I've
sure. Noticed, Donna, I'm going to show you something. I do believe I can actually make you co-host, and so that there could be two of us. So
really?
Let me just check that. Do you want to make Donna the co-host of this meeting? I'm going to say yes. Okay, so now we're co-host. I wonder if I can do that with Jimena.
With me.
Yeah, exactly. You could be a co-host. I'm gonna make her a co. I'm not now. Donna's taken over. Sorry, Jimena.
Jimena, I'll try to do it afterwards. Okay.
Don't worry. It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it at all.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. So everybody, we have about 40 more minutes or 35 more minutes. If you can stay connected, we'd love you to get a little more information. And Russell, after you get a glass of water, when you come back, please feel free to make comments whenever you want. Okay.
Jimena, you are now a co-host.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so what we want to do now is just show you some ideas of what you can do in the Zoom platform once you're in there. Instead of just talking to your students, a lot of teachers don't really know what to do. So here I am to give you some ideas, and I say putting sparkles into your online activities. Now, Jimena, if you don't mind, now that you're a co-host, she's gone. She's gone. Okay, would you mind keeping track of the chats and letting me know if there are any questions I should address, okay?
I will, yes, don't
Thank
worry.
you so much. Okay, so I usually start with something that will help you get oriented. Doing something different can be scary. The bad news is that you're falling through the air with nothing to catch you, not even a parachute. That's probably not inspiring, but just wait. The good news is that there's no ground, okay? So that's supposed to help you just feel a little better about this. This is new for all of you. Your students are going to forgive you for whatever. The best thing about students usually is how forgiving they are. So don't worry if it works one day, wonderful. If it doesn't work another day, there's always the day after, all right? So this is all it's new for all of us. So yesterday I went over very basically how to upload textbooks, but some of you have textbooks that are already uploaded, you're using your own platforms. What I want to do is raise the thinking, going from low order to higher order thinking. And tomorrow I'm going to explain why that's so important. For now, let me just tell you, it's really important. Yesterday, all of the information I showed you that I was uploading, we can consider lower order thinking questions. There's one answer, and you find it exactly in the book. There's nothing the students have to infer or create, nothing. So in your lessons online with Zoom or any other platform you use, I'm going to show you some ideas of how to make these lessons dynamic and exciting for your students, okay? So for instance, let's just say that you have a reading. Someone has a doorbell ringing. Sorry. All right. Let's just say your students have to read something. Now these activities you can do either before you have the meeting or during the meeting. This is a great way to start. All right. So we take this image And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an activity the students can do before they do the reading. All right, so here are the words that they're going to need. This is one part of the reading. Here's parts of a guitar, and what I'm doing is I'm ciphering the words. Now, what in the world do they have to do to uncipher it? Well, I can upload this on the Zoom platform, or I can give this to them beforehand, either in the Richmond platform or Edmodo, wherever, right? And if you notice, I put the black arrow on the top on R for Richmond, because we're celebrating how incredible they've given this opportunity for you all to learn all this. So could you all try to find the L on the outside of this circle? Can you find the L on the outside? What is the letter in the inside? You can see it's a W, right? Okay, now I want you to find the I on the outside of the circle. Can you tell me what the letter is on the inside of the circle? And this is exactly what you can do with your students. So that's why I'm asking you to practice it. What letters do you have so far? Okay, great. So we have we. Now, just finish this off. All right. Oops, sorry. Finish this off with C-R-E. And what do you have? Christina, keep looking. Either I did it incorrectly or you might be looking at the wrong letters. Go outside to inside. That's okay. That's okay. At least you're doing it. Okay, excellent. There we go. So we can, right? That's the message I want you to give you, that we can do this. We can do this. So I take this. I'm trying to get the chat gone. Okay, so we take these words. Now, I'm not going to ask you to do this, but I could ask my students to do this either during the Zoom session or before the Zoom session. And this is just a dynamic way for them to learn. What are these words? Well, these words are, you've probably guessed, these. All right, if you've deciphered them, these are the words you're going to get. Now, why is that important? Because later, when they go back to the text, they're going to find that some of them they appear in the text. The Esquire has one pickup. Now we have in our mind what the pickup is. The body is one solid piece of wood. The neck is made of one piece of wood, and the tuning heads are all on the side. So if you see, you've now helped your students get oriented. You've helped them assimilate some of the knowledge before they have to read all of this text. It's a lot. Even students with a little bit of advanced learning, it's a lot of reading. So what we want to do is just help them transfer into the learning. So that's one activity. And then in the Zoom meeting, what we want to do is ask higher order thinking questions. So either as a whole class, or you can put them in breakout rooms, you want to start asking them question. What was the most meaningful information you read on page 29? Now that might sound very simple, but if you look where what is on the question continuum, it's one of the high order thinking questions. It's not simple to answer. They need to explain, they need to justify what they're answering. And then in the breakout rooms, you can ask them in their group members to write 15 or 20 words that summarize the page. Again, synthesizing is a very important skill. So even though it looks simple, it's really good skill for them to develop. You can now combine breakout rooms. As Russell showed you before, you just switch it. You can put them all back in the main class, change the numbers, and put them in different breakout rooms. So they share their conclusions. And then you bring them all back into the class and you ask the speakers to share their sentences. So you want to give them roles beforehand. Do any of you already use roles with your students? You can keep doing that in online classes. Okay. All right. So far, was that fairly clear? All right, this is one of the ones I really love, the cipher wheel, and you can change the letter whenever you want. I wouldn't use it too often, but once in a while. All right, so here we have a scaffolding 2. And I use the word scaffolding. I don't want to scare anyone. Some people may know that scaffolding, let's just say it means pre-teaching. All right. So let's try another one. You ready? Let's see if I can get this. Here we go. This is a page like any other page you might have. Remember, this can be done before your Zoom meeting, during your Zoom meeting. If you have younger students, this can be adapted. If you have older students, that can also be adapted. I'm going to show you how easy this is. All you do is take the image and we're going to divide it into sections. And you can do this again, you can upload this, you can show this on your PowerPoint when you share a screen, because what you're going to do is ask your students to look at these slips one at a time. And you're going to ask them to verbalize, what do I see? And you're going to be in your group, or you might be with just one other classmate in a breakout room, and you're both going to verbalize what you see, what you read, and what's missing. What do you think is missing? So you can describe these images. You can say, I see part of a word before Smith, it's probably his name, and continue. You repeat what your partner said, and as your students are talking, you're going to show different slides, your different slices of the image, right? And so they keep repeating, and repetition is really important in language learning and content learning as well. When they've finished, when you have all of these slips of paper from your PowerPoint on the screen, then, because it was a grammar page, ask them to identify the adverbs and verbs. Ask them to use them in sentences. Put them back in a breakout room. Have them compare each other. It's probably better in the breakout rooms. You don't want to embarrass any of your students if they don't know the answer. So in smaller groups, they'll feel more supported. This is really, really easy to do. You can think about using just an image, just text, or like here, a text and an image. Okay, another really easy scaffold that you can use that might make your lessons a bit more dynamic and fun. And then what you want to do is call them back into the breakout room. And again, we want them to use the question continuum, going from lower order thinking to higher order thinking. So for instance, what are 10 things you do every day? With your group members, compare your lists. And what are the common adverbs you've used? So what, even though it's a word we use very frequently, it's a higher order thinking question. Because what you need to do is think about 10 things you do every day. Write them down. Think about the structure of how you're writing them. Help your partner and help your group members do it. Comparing your list, which means listening skills, which means you're using social skills as well. And then what are the common adverbs you've used? You synthesize information. It's another really important skill.
Donna, a lot of people are asking, how do you cut the images?
Okay, so what I did is, yesterday I showed them how I did a print screen. You can do it really easily on a print screen for PowerPoint also. The question is, Russell, once they're in a breakout room, can they see your PowerPoint, or will they see the whole image all at once?
You would need to share that PowerPoint slide with them. You would need to share that with them, unfortunately. That would be the one problem with that activity if you did it they would need access, because when they go into the breakout rooms, when they share the screen, they can only share the things that are on their computer, not on your computer.
Okay, so you need to send the PowerPoint, or maybe just that slide, to one of the students, and they'll share it in their group.
One student in each group, yeah.
Okay, so as easy as this looks, and it's easy in face-to-face sessions, it might be a little more challenging for the online sessions for the time being, but I know you can all do it later on. All right. Okay, so let's go on to another one, combining chapters. This is what I really like to do, because whenever I go into classrooms, I always ask teachers why they're going chapter by chapter. There's a lot of information that can be combined and help students connect information. So this is an activity you can do in your Zoom meetings or before that helps combine a lot of the information. And this one is simply asking them which image doesn't belong. Okay, I'm not going to say anything yet. I want you to tell me which image doesn't belong. All right, this is, for instance, images in, I think, a second of primary class, and it's from 3 different chapters. We have transport, we have animals, and we have colors here. So which image doesn't belong? Now, all of you are going to have different answers probably. Why? Because there is no one correct answer. And one thing I really like doing, because this is a higher order level thinking skill, is give activities that don't have one correct answer. So that as long as they can justify it, they get it. All right. So I have which image doesn't belong. You can say where do you usually find teddy bears or see teddy bears? Another high order question, which of these toys are from a form of transport? And then the highest order question, which is creative, and again, ask them to get in their groups and think about this. What if the elephant knew your name? This is for young learners. It really activates their imagination. I've done this in classrooms. The students really get engaged. So these questions are simple enough for them to understand and participate with, and yet you're helping activate higher order level thinking. Really high cognitive skills, okay? All right, you can also do this at a higher level. Which image doesn't belong? And you put these from, I think this is a second of ESO book. All right, what type of home do you live in? Asking personal questions is really important. We need to bring them into the classroom. Which of these places has the most glass? Again, as long as they can justify their answer, they can say whatever they want. And what if you found a farm and a library? Again, a little strange, but we want them to have a little fun, especially during this crisis when they can't leave their homes. All right, yes, some of you are answering, and all of you are probably answering different questions, which is fine. All right, we can also do this with just words instead of images. Which word doesn't belong and why? These are for very young learners. Which days of the week are missing? Important. Which critical thinking? How many days do you think should be in a week? Let them become a little involved in their learning. We tell them so much. We tell them, you know, what they're supposed to know. Let's have them be a little flexible. All right. And what if you could invent the name of your own day? Again, we need to make sure we do creativity. We need to give them flexibility, and we want to bring personality into the classroom. These are things, again, you can upload in your platform, or you can do it during the Zoom meeting. And then afterwards, I have one more, it looks like. Yes, diplomas, this is for higher levels. There is no one correct answer here. They have to justify whatever answer they give you. All right, what's the category? What's another word you could add under the category? And how would you promote the positive ideas here in your community? We had one person, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, who has advanced students. This is exactly the type of exercise and activity you can give them. Note that even though it's advanced, I use colors. I respond to colors, which means a lot of my students will respond to colors. Some people don't like them, but in any case, I think it's important. All right.
Some of the teachers are already inventing names for the days. Someone suggested Quarantine Tuesday.
Oh my goodness. Mawalita, that's wonderful. Okay, yeah, I think we need to write that one down. All right, scaffolding 4. I think I have 6, so I think I'm going to have time to finish this, which is perfect. This is another Richmond. I think this is a Compass book. All right, so I've taken images from one of the pages. Actually, Russell, I think I'm talking so fast I may be finished sooner, which is fine because we'll do some more of the technology. In any case, I've taken images from one of the pages, and what I want to do here is the students are going to verbalize what they see. They're working either in pairs or in threes. Usually, if you can, in the breakout rooms, put no more than 3 students in each. The students will participate a lot more. I know, because I've been in many schools for many years, and the cooperative learning seems to want you to do 4, 5, and 6, but the ideal number for groups is 3. So if you can. All right, so they're going to verbalize what they see. They read the subtitles under these picture texts, and these come from a whole unit. This is not just on one page. So what I'm doing is helping them assimilate knowledge of a whole unit at the same time. And what do we do with this? Well, you want to put it in different orders. So this is another PowerPoint you're going to have to send your students, or you can just say I have an idea actually here. You give this to each breakout room. They have 3 minutes to talk about it, or 5 minutes, whatever, and then you change them all at the same time. And what have you done here? You've eliminated one of the pictures. They have to say which picture is missing, And they also have to describe them again. So there's a lot of repetition here. Once they've described them and they've identified which picture is missing, then ask them some of the higher order level thinking questions. How does taking care of a neighbor's yard help the community? How does donating money to charity help the community, etc.? Which community service would you most likely participate in? So you're taking this information that they're going to study in their chapters and also personalizing it. Once you make it personal, the students have an easier time assimilating the information, right?
Donna, we've got one person asking, why do you say that the ideal number is 3?
It's just according to the studies. I do read a lot of the studies, and the experts say that 2 or 3 is the ideal one. I know, and you probably know this as well, if you're in a group of 4, how many students are actually working? Usually it's 1 or 2. If I'm the 4th person in a group, I sit back and let everyone else do the work. But I have many photographs. I'm really privileged to be able to go into the schools in Spain and in other countries, and I have a lot of pictures of students working in groups, and because I show the teachers. And when we're so busy in a classroom that a lot of times we don't realize what's really happening. But if you stop and watch, in a group of 4 or 5, first of all, the teacher will give one set of materials so people can't even reach them.
Yeah.
Secondly, there's only 2 people talking, or maybe 3 at the most. So just observe that. Go ahead.
I just totally agree with that. And you know what? When you use technology, it's the same. Let's imagine that you've got a student with a mobile phone and they're playing Kahoot or they're doing something on the computer. You can have one person on the left, one person on the right. That's the maximum. I always say, whenever you're working with a technology, and it's got to be 3 people. You can't have more. I totally agree. Great. It's a really good point.
Okay, and so Russell, just let me confirm this. In the breakout rooms, you can establish that only 3 people go in each room. Is that correct?
You can do that because let's say you've got 15 people, well, you just create 5 rooms, and then automatically 3 will go into each room.
Okay, great. So we just have to divide by 3 whatever number of students you have.
Yeah, and what you can always do if you've got an odd number, well, that room can only have 2 people in it. Yeah. So if you've got 17, you can make 5 rooms or make 6 rooms, and the last room's only going to have 2 people, not 3.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, or should I go on?
I think you're at lots of people like all your ideas, so please carry on. They seem to. I'm getting lots of comments about how much they like all your ideas.
Okay, I'm really happy because what we want is for them to have fun in their Zoom meetings. All right, so let's go to 5. All right, this is vocabulary. Now, as I said, I do a lot of reading on studies. It is not ideal to teach vocabulary. If students memorize words and their definitions, they will pass the exams, but they won't assimilate the meanings of the words, so they remember it as long as they have to for the exam and forget it. So this is one way that we can have them interact a little more with the vocabulary if you feel it's necessary to focus on it. So I've taken a glossary, but you all know that in most of the books you have for school, there's vocabulary either in each unit or in each page. So what can we do before the Zoom meeting or after the Zoom meeting to help them understand a little of the academic language? Well, this is for, I think, a third of SO class, but think about adapting it for lower learners or younger students, and say which is a better paraphrase for this definition. I'm going to give you 2. So just go ahead and read these 2 and tell me which you think is better paraphrase for that definition. Let's see if they're getting this. All right, and while you're reading that, I just want to respond to Nelly's comment. This is the comment I get so often with teachers that it takes up a lot of time. It does take up a lot of time, but the wonderful part about this is that if the students are learning the academic language or they understand the concept of the unit better, then later, once the Zoom meeting is over, you can be more confident in saying, now go ahead and finish the work on the platform with your parents this afternoon, whatever. We want to free up time in the Zoom meeting for more active work with them, all right? So it's a really important point. Okay, so I see people are answering A. Completely agree with you. You read it. The brilliant part is you had to read the definition and you read 2 paraphrased definitions. All of those words you're going to find in the unit. A is definitely more accurate. I'm going to give you one more challenge if you can bear with me. Let's try one more for acid rain. And which is a better paraphrase? Go ahead and read them both, please. Naomi wants to know if a student wants to change a group, is it advisable to do it? It's the same as in your classroom. With the Zoom room, it's going to be sort of a lottery. In the classroom, we don't do it as often. So you're going to need to decide if they're working well together or not. Maybe Russell has some comments about that.
Yeah, each time you create a Zoom room, you can recreate the rooms so that every time everyone's working with different people, so you don't have to put them back in the same room.
Yeah, I think it's a good practice.
You can also move people out of a room as well. So if you go into I mean, I did that a little bit the other day. I had a certain room, and I just said I moved one of the teachers into another room. It was a teacher training session. So you've got both. You've got lots of options, and you can even actually organize the rooms yourself rather than do it automatically. So you can just drag people in and just put them into the rooms you want to. That's also possible.
Okay, that's really good to know. That is good to know. Okay, and as response to this, yes, I completely agree. B is a little more accurate. The point is that you had to read the definition and you read 2 interpretations of the definition. So it's a really nice way to get them active, sharing ideas. There's someone who has a phone that's ringing every time you get a message, Russell. I'm not sure if it's you or maybe Jimena. It's not me.
No,
I turned my phone on.
People coming in and out of the room.
Thank you, Jimena. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Okay, it's none of us. It's none of us. We're all in silence. All right, so that's one more scaffolding you can do. And then again, during the meeting, you work on the higher order level thinking. You can say, how would you rearrange the information in the glossary, for instance, or in the unit? Or how could you make the information more attractive, clearer, more understandable? We want to treat them as people who can make decisions because they are. We want them to get them participating in their own lessons. So this is one more activity you can do. Yes, it takes a little more time, but this is what I tell teachers all the time. Do we want to finish the curriculum, make sure we do every page before the end of the year, or do we want our students to learn? And I think the very fact that you've connected is because you're looking for ways for your students to learn, even under this very strange circumstance. So going quickly is not the answer. We want to make the work that you give them quality, okay? So thank you for that question. And I think, let's see what this one is on concepts, either 1 or 2. What's the purpose of art? I love that question. All right, this is a really quick one. 3 of these images are art. Which are they? What do you think? I give the academic language on the right. Sorry, somehow this page has cut it off a little bit. But we want to be sure to give them the academic language so in the breakout room they can look at these and have a discussion. Now, without having to, I think you've already got it. They're all art or none of them are art, depending on your likes or dislikes. But the important part here is they use the academic language, they look at these images that they're going to see in their books, and they interact with it all. Right? This is very easy to do. All I did is cut and paste from the unit, put it in a square, and put the academic language in. So this is a very easy slide to go into the breakout rooms. All right. I think that's all I wanted to look on that. Let me see. For me, all of them are art. Nuria and this, I completely agree. All right, so here we have words. Which of these words are about art? 3 of these. And I'm from New York, so I like irony. 3 of them could be about art, 3 of them could not be about art, whatever you want. But the important part here is that these words come from their unit and you want them to interact and talk about them. What is then when we go into the Zoom meeting, you go to the higher order thinking questions. What is your definition of art? When is the last time you saw a piece of artwork? And do you believe artists are honored in your culture? Now the last one is pretty heavy, but it's something you can really discuss. You can talk about this, what your culture, how artists are honored in your culture, and decide if they agree. So these are questions that don't have one right answer. It really just involves a lot of talking and a lot of interacting. All right. And then we have one more. I know I'm going kind of fast, but you'll get this recording later. Videos. It's very important to scaffold videos. It's very important. Teachers often think that the only way to help students is if they pause, ask a question, put the video on again, pause, and ask another question. I find that very ineffective personally. This is another way we can do this. Give them images from the video. This is an image from the video. And ask them to write an image, to describe the image and explain what it has to do with gratitude. Everyone is going to have a different answer, which is completely valid, but you want them to think about it. I see different scenes in nature. A girl sees a bug on her chest and she's trying to get it off. She is grateful the bug didn't bite her, for instance. It's very important to model what we want our students to be doing. So that's why I put this example here. And the next one, I don't give an example. Write a description of the image you see and what it has to do with gratitude. So you read this, you can talk about the fact that she's making notes about what she was grateful for. Here's another image from the video, again, the same question. All right. Everyone's going to have a different answer for this. This is a piece of pie, and you're going to understand why this image is there. But what does it have to do with gratitude? Either because you didn't eat it or you did eat it. And then give them the same images and some of the text, the transcript from the video. And you want them to match the sentence to the images. So a few years ago, I was really struggling to survive. I felt like I had everything I needed, but I just wasn't happy. Then someone said to me, Haley, take time every day and think if there's anything you can be truly grateful for. Now, you might say automatically it's the picture on the top, but if you go and read the other two, you might change your mind, right? So we're not going to take the time for you to read all of it because, again, we have other things we need to do, but this is something that's so simple before they watch a video that you can do for them. There's 4. Okay, and then the video. So I'm just going to show you the first 30 seconds of the video, and you tell me if you understand it a little better.
You need to put the audio on, don't forget.
Oh.
Remember the audio button in screen share. So you want to come out of screen share, go back into screen share, and click on that little button that I was just explaining earlier.
Yeah,
Remember?
I wasn't paying attention.
I
was writing down chats. Okay.
Do you want to go out of the screen share? You're in screen share, aren't you?
I'm still in screen share.
You just go to the top of the screen, the top of your screen, and stop the screen share. Do you want me to do it for you?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I think I can. Oh no, I can't. If you go to the top of the screen, Donna, you should see that you've got screen share on. Just stop your screen share at the top of the screen.
Let me see if I can do this now. Is it stopped?
Yeah, because at the moment I think we can just see your PowerPoint slides on the screen.
Okay, so it should be stopped then.
Yeah. What you need to do is go out of screen. You remember, don't forget you're sharing your screen at the moment.
It doesn't say stop sharing. That's the problem.
If you roll up to the top, move your cursor right to the top of the screen. It should be right at the top of the screen. It should tell you somewhere stop screen share.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Weird.
Yeah, I know. Let me just see if I put on pause. Okay, now I did. I think now I've stopped sharing, correct?
No, because otherwise everything from the screen would disappear.
Okay.
Right, so there's something still on the screen. I don't understand. That's it. Now you've come out. Right. Okay. So
All right, so
now,
now,
Donna, if you screen share again, and when you screen share, click on that little, when you first click on the screen share button, click on that audio button in the left-hand corner to make sure that we can hear the audio. Do you remember?
Yeah. Okay, everybody, that's why. But it asked me to, let's see if it worked. Let's see if it worked. I'm not sure if it did. All right, just tell me if you can hear the audio now.
No.
Okay, there's a reason for that. I will do this again tomorrow to show the video if you want. But it asked for my contraseña for the computer,
right, okay,
and
okay.
I never remember it. So.
Right. Okay.
All right. So don't worry. The idea is that after you do all of those activities, you will understand the video a lot better. And those are the activities I wanted to share with you today. So we have. I hope that you can use them. I also have a web page. I will not be outdone by Russell. I have a lot of free material that I would love for you to share. So if you go to scaffoldingmagic.com, you can see on the side of these screens, if you look on the side, it says scaffoldingmagic.com. There are lots of these activities that you can download for free. So I encourage you to go there too. And so Russell, for today, that's all we're going to do.
Yeah.
What I think we can do now is ask them if they have any questions.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link to my website in just in case people want it. Okay. When you go there, you'll see that you can click on the videos on how to use Zoom, and there's about 5 different videos. It shows you breakout rooms, it shows you screen share, it shows you settings, it shows you how to start, and they're all free. Okay, and they're the same YouTube video. So I'll paste that in case there's a couple of. All right, it's just teachertrainingvideos.com. If you just go to that, oh no, sorry, I've sent that to Donna. Sorry, I've only sent it to Donna, not to the whole, right, everyone, sorry. Yeah.
I'd also, if you don't mind, like to clarify about the Zoom app. You need to be aware that it has restrictions compared to the desktop version. Remember that apps are like a baby version of what we have on desktop. So yes, there is an app for Zoom that will allow you to participate in live sessions, but you won't have all the tools that you have with the desktop version. You can't organize windows on the screen. They will just pop up and block whatever view you had underneath. You need to be aware of that. I understand how convenient it is to work on mobile phones, but you must keep in mind that you will have limitations. You won't have the full set of tools available in the mobile app. Yeah.
Excellent.
So it's so true, and it's so frustrating because people don't realize that you still can't beat having a good laptop or a computer when you're doing things like this. It's always exactly what Jimena just said. That's exactly the case.
All right, Jimena, that's all we have for today. We have tomorrow, though. We're really looking forward to it. So I'm going to be moving into how we can work on projects, even with a Zoom classroom and online. And Russell, what are you going to be doing tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to look at Zoom again from the point of view of trying to connect it and make the lessons a bit more engaging. So what I'm going to look at is the 4 stages of trying to make it less teacher-centered. I mean, you've suggested lots of nice ideas today, but maybe give a bit of structure to that in ways that we can, because what we've got to try and do is take the focus away from us. That's really hard, but we're going to try.
Student-centered learning, right. And so the challenge is to make these slides available for each breakout room. That's really what I think we need to talk about that a little more, Russell.
So I think it's a really good point.
Russell, can you maybe visit the polling feature of Zoom tomorrow?
Oh, wow. Do you know what? I've never even used it myself. There we are.
Because someone was asking us here in the chat room if you could poll, and yes, you can.
Right, okay. So, Jimena,
you do it, Jimena. Jimena should do it. Look how excited she is.
So, listen, you know something that I don't know because I haven't used it yet, but I will look into it definitely.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Jimena, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Russell, for your brilliant explanations of this technology. And I look forward to seeing everyone again tomorrow.
Great. No, it went really well. Donna, lovely activities. They loved them. They loved all the creative stuff you're doing there. And, you know, it's that thing, isn't it? we've got to get the technology right, but we've also got to think about the teaching and learning. And of course, at the end, the teaching and learning is much more important than the technology. Definitely.
Right, but you're all gonna be so used to the technology, it'll go really smoothly. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, everyone.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Be safe, everyone. Bye, Jimena. Bye, Russell.
Bye,
See you
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Yes.
Ciao.
Don't
Bye.
sneeze.
Adios.
I'm just about to sneeze, sorry.